You know, I think they've been so inconsistent, Manchester United, both in the Champions League and the league. And you only have to look at the last 4 Premier League games they've played, which they've won, I must say. West Ham, they were lucky.
Yeah.
Because West Ham, you know, had many opportunities to score. Southampton, again, 2-0 down, starting the game really poorly, sluggishly.
Yeah.
Had the spirit, and listen, they had the resilience to get back into that game. West Brom, they give away a penalty before they scored the only goal of the game. And then Everton, although Everton went ahead, I was at that game when Bernard scored the opener. They did play well in that game for the majority of the game. But in general, they've been so inconsistent. So I wasn't sure what to expect last night. And RB Leipzig are a good team. They started really well. I thought the first goal was exceptional.
Yeah.
And by an ex-Manchester City player, I have to say, who was very pleased with his goal for the night. And then the second goal, I think it was avoidable. I think there was some poor defending. I thought the goalkeeper showed no courage at all. De Gea with that goal that Kluivert scored.
Turned his back in it, didn't he?
Oh, come on. Take one in the face. That's what goalkeepers are supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, if I speak to John Burridge and John Burridge talks about that situation, and he was a brave keeper. And he despises keepers that are not prepared to get hurt for the team. And I exactly thought that as soon as I seen De Gea kind of pull out of that. And it was a fantastic finish by Kluivert's son, obviously the ex-great player for Holland. But I thought Manchester United probably got what they deserved. Yeah.
Well, you wonder what Woodward and the rest of them are thinking this morning, Simon. When you look at the company they should have been keeping in the last 16, people at Bayern Munich in there, Dortmund, Chelsea, Juventus, Manchester City, Porto, Seville, they ought to be in that company, and they're not. They're not. And that's a simple fact of the matter.
Well, the imagery of it is that they ought to be in that company. The iconography that goes with Manchester United suggests they ought to be in that company. You know, you look at this game, and I thought that they would win because these sort of results and these sort of games paper over the cracks and seem to consistently allow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to disappear under the radar of people saying this isn't good enough ad infinitum. The bigger question for me, Man United fans get very fed up, or certain segments of us talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and me piling in on every time they have a bad result, he gets a load of abuse. But why? I think if you look at Man United fans and say, what do you think of Ed Woodward? I think 80% of them would say he's not fit for purpose. So if he's not fit for purpose in that job, why is he fit for purpose to employ someone to do the most critical job, which is manage the team? That's the bigger question that I think has yet to be answered.
So the buck stops with Woodward.
Well, I think ultimately he employed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Those players...
But don't you think Ole's doing a good job in general for Manchester United?
No, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing the job to the level of his abilities. I think he's got players that are really letting him down. And I think the reasons why they're letting him down is because he doesn't have the innate ability, this X factor, to concentrate the minds of those players, to understand the responsibility of what they have to do from the very first whistle, irrespective of formations. People talked about the tactical naivety of Ole Gunnar. This wasn't about tactical naivety. This was about players not doing their jobs and not being responsible for coming out of the blocks on the front foot in most of the games that they come out with. And that is in part the leadership and the gravitas that a manager imbues in players. You hear about players, Trevor, running through brick walls for their manager, doing what... Do you believe that these players are running through brick walls for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because if the answer is yes, I would question it. If the answer is no, then why not?